Hey, yo, we back at it again. It's your boy Ray's podcast, coming live for the ninth floor of the beautiful Hello Studios in the gorgeous downtown Dallas. Thank you for rocking with your boy one more time, man. So thankful and blessed to be alive today. Got somebody riding shotgun with me, all right? So, I don't know, maybe, let's say circa April 2023. I had this person as a guest on the show. Now they riding shotgun with your boy on this episode. Who is it? Who do we got in here? Talk to the people.
We got Raya. Ray's podcast with Raya. I think it has a nice ring to it.
I think it's got a great ring to it. We're going to talk about that. Appreciate you rocking with me one more time, coming and hang out with me today. So it's got a really cool episode we got. We get ready for football season. Go Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do that. We in that thing in New York. Leaving that thing with a dub, you know what I'm saying?
With a dub.
We're going to eat a dub, you know what I'm saying? We're going to eat a dub. You want to eat a dub too?
Is that what we're doing? I even heard the Cowboys theme. Look at that.
Gotta get that. Where's he at nowadays? Is he's on the team right now? Anybody signed Jameis?
New Orleans Saints.
I thought since they got Derek Carr, they kind of let him go.
He's a backup.
It's a backup.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you heard that voice. We'll give him a proper introduction in just a second. But, this is the time of the show. I like to pour back into people. Sometimes you may be having a rough week, rough month, rough day. Let's restart that. Hit control off delete on that. You know what I'm saying? Help you have a fresh and renew your mind. So you ready for that? You ready?
Of course.
Let's do it. Okay. So just in case nobody told you today, I just want you to know that you're beautiful. You're loved. You're needed. You're alive for a reason. Hey, you're stronger than you think. See, here on Ray's podcast, we're glad you're alive and don't give up. So when those situations come up, when you have positive words already in your mind, it helps you. Okay, the enemy tries to talk to me, but you remember, you know what? I can do what I say I can do. I am who I say I am. So remember that, and I promise you can do anything. Cool. That part. We got that out the way, all right? So let's get into it. You ready to get into it?
Of course.
Okay, she's ready to get into it. All right. So let me tell you about the guest we got today, all right? So you may have seen him on your TV screen once circa 2000s. 2009-ish. I don't know the exact date, but somewhere in that area, okay? If you weren't, if you're a teeny bopper, it's your first time learning about this person, I'm going to tell you about this guy. I like to see this guy at my local establishment. Ran into him. I was like, hey, bro, I got to get you on the show, man. So you may have seen him, on 4th and Long. They call him Mr. 4th and Long. You may have seen him on the Dallas Cowboys, the Patriots, the Bengals, Canada. Maybe your local radio station you may have heard him on, the podcast, you don't know. Everybody give a warm Ray's podcast welcome to the guy, Mr. 4th and Long himself, Jesse Holley, man. What's up, bro?
Hey.
See, the folk love you. They love you, bro.
Hey.
What's going on? Man, what's going on, bro? How you doing?
Life's good. It's good, man. I got no complaints, bro. This is nice. You're sitting up high, overlooking downtown. I was like, okay. I didn't know where I was going at first, and I said, okay, all right, this is cool.
Man, you should saw my first studio. It was in Gotham City over here in Deep Ellum where I first started.
Yeah, I might have just kept driving. I might have been like, you know what? It's not gonna make it today. You got to zoom me in.
I've had to do that before.
Yeah,
I've had to have people on the phone. I had to actually be on the phone. I was like, yeah, bro, we not gonna make this. I'm like, cool, do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Right?
But no, this is dope. This is dope.
Like I said again, we appreciate you coming in and take time out of your day. I know you a busy man, all on the radio, all on the podcast, dancing in the videos and stuff.
If you want, trust me, I'm not dancing in your videos, but if you want your sports analysis to go up a level, I ain't signing the death row, but you need to make me a part of your team.
Bet, man. So let's get into it, man. Let's let the people know who Jesse Holley is. We're going to start from the beginning. We're going to rewind it. Take us, grew up, in the Jersey area, from going to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Tell us your story, where it started to how you got to being Mr. 4th and Long.
Oof. I don't know if we got enough time for that. It's like a 3-part episode right there. But yeah, man, born and raised in Roselle, New Jersey. I'm the middle of 3 boys. And so it's funny thing is, if you see my brothers, we look alike in the face, all of us. It is a distinct look that we have. No denying it. I am 6'3" and some change, 230 pounds. My youngest brother is about 5'8", 175 pounds. My oldest brother is about 5'7", 155. The little dudes, right? And then here I am, same mom, same dad. You know what? And as a youngster, my mom was a drug addict. My father was a drug dealer. And so a lot of the portion of my younger years, I kind of spent in the streets. And, I never really I didn't sell drugs. As a young kid, I was a drug runner. Like literally hey, put the book bag on, jump on your bike, take this across town, get another book bag, bring it back. That type stuff. And then as I got older, it was more so like you saw the movie New Jersey Drive. Yeah. So that was like we used to steal cars. And, I found the love of sports by accident. I was roaming the streets looking for some people to hang with, to get in trouble with. And one of my friends named Zaire, he was like, hey man, I'm about to go to practice. Come on, let's just go to practice, and afterwards we can kick it. And so I go, and they ended up only having 9, a basketball practice. And the coach was like, hey, you wanna play? And I was like, all right, cool, I'll play. And I ended up dominating their practice. And he was like, hey, you wanna play basketball? And I was like, nah, not really. And I left. And he came to my block and was like, come to practice. And I didn't like to follow directions. So that was the biggest thing where he made the team run suicides one day for someone else messing up. I'm not running those. I didn't mess up. I'm on the B squad. We didn't mess up. So why would I have to run because the A squad messed up? This was a team, and I didn't understand team concept. I wasn't running. And he kicked me out. And that was the first time I realized I was like, I like this. I need this. And he began to be a mentor of mine and actually steered me towards football. I didn't want to play football at all. I was out of my 3 brothers, and I was probably the worst athlete out of the 3 of us. And then I just grew, and I got better and I got better. Ended up being one of the best players in the state of New Jersey, the best player out of my high school, Abraham Clark High School, or Roselle High. I had scholarships everywhere. Another episode, I'll tell you about my recruiting trips that I had. Some good times during those recruiting trips. Ended up at the University of North Carolina. 2-sport athlete there, played football, played basketball at UNC, go Heels. Won a national championship in basketball, and decided basketball is always and still is my first love. But I realized, I'm like, you ain't going pro, bro. That's not. Yeah. The league now is not what it was back then in 04, 05. I graduated in 2007. It was more traditional. It was more like point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center.
You play your position.
Right? And then the game went through the center. Now it's positionless, right? Yeah. You got everybody's just playing. They're not afraid of small guards and, playing full guards and the big at 6'8". So times are different. And I was like, I'm not going overseas, so I'm going to try this football thing out. I ended up signing with the Bengals coming out as my rookie year. And everything was going well. I'm living life in Cincinnati, but I'm living the wrong life. Right? I'm not really focused on my craft. I'm not really focused on the things that I was chasing women. That was I don't drink, I don't smoke. I wasn't a clubber. I don't have those vices, but I was just like women.
But the women
I was like, what Biggie say, her flight leaves at 8, her flight lands, and that was the thing. And I ended up getting released after 9 weeks. It was the first time since I had kind of really gotten to sports that it had been taken away from me. And it left me in a really bad place, and I didn't know what to do. But I eventually packed my bags and went back to Durham, North Carolina, where I had an aunt that was staying there, and I ended up staying with her, hoping the phone would ring. I'm like, oh, the phone's going to ring. I'm going to be on the team soon, da-da-da-da-da. And it doesn't. And I was spending money all recklessly, and, of course, I did the dumb black thing. And I can say this because I'm black, and I wish we stopped doing this as black people. At the first sight of getting money, do not run to the dealership. Yeah, do not run to the jewelry store. I just wish that's one of the biggest pet peeves of mine is that's the first, and I get it. That's how we identify as being wealthy or having something. We run to the dealership, and it's got to be a Benz or got to be a bust down watch or stop, guys, girls, black people. When you get some change, hold on to it. Like really think about like what you want to spend your money on, because it was a waste of money what I was doing, and I lost everything. Ended up basically being homeless and living on the futon. I was sleeping on the futon in my aunt's house, and no more money. When I say I was broke, like I was broke, like broke, like calling the little debit card and it's like, you have $23. And I was a college graduate, but during that time, 2008-ish, 7-ish, 8-ish.
Recession, wasn't it?
Recession.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a job. And I'm like, I got a college degree from UNC. I ended up working security. Like I was like a flashlight cop. Like I was the mall cop guy.
Like Day-Day.
Yeah, like top flight security in the world, Craig.
Flashlight. We used to catch your girl.
Yeah, I had to whistle and everything. And I would work graveyard shift from 11 at night to 7 in the morning. Then I would train from 7:30 to 9:30 at this, rundown gym. Like the membership was like $8 a month. Like the foam was coming out of the padding of the bench. It was like a rundown spot, but it was all I can afford. I'm like, but I got to stay in shape. And so I did that, and then I worked at T-Mobile from 10 to 3. And then I volunteered my services at a Boys and Girls Club 3 days a week. And like that was my everyday routine. And nothing shook. Nothing came about. And then one night, I remember like this is my God moment. Like this is my moment where me and God had an interaction. And I remember like 3:30 in the morning, I just got on my hands and knees in the middle of this courtyard, and I'm just like, "What do you want from me?" Like I'm screaming to the sky, like, "What do you want from me?"
Like Tyrese.
Yeah, like, but the funny part about it is like the biggest play of my Cowboys career. When you see that play, I'm literally in the same position, crying out like, "What do you want from me?" It's the same as, and I'm just like, "Glory to God! I just made the biggest play of my life."
Yeah.
So that was always a special moment for me, and it was like God was like, "You," and I was like, "What do you mean you?" Like, and that was the first time I really kind of like, really had a God moment, and I gave myself, and then things began to change, and I went from working security, and I got a phone call from Kevin Best. Kevin Best at the time was the program, the public relations guy at UNC for the football department. He's been there 25 years. And he calls me like at 10 o'clock at night. He's like, "Hey, I just want to give you a call and tell you some people from this show called me." And it was like, whatever. And I just want to tell you, I gave them your name and your number. So they may be calling in a couple of days. And so I'm like, okay. And so they do. And it's like, they call it like, "Hey, we're Spike TV. And, this is what we're doing. We can't tell you much, but hey, we're going to send you this application type thing. We want you to fill it out and fax it back." Yes, fax it back. It wasn't no scanning back then. It was it was like fax it back. So like I faxed it back, and while like the next month or two was like the wildest month or two ever, because I go from working security and then the show calls, and I send this application, and they're like, "Hey, we need you in one of these 5 locations for an audition. You have to be there for 2 days." And the locations were California, Cali, Ohio, Orlando. It was 2 in California, Ohio, Orlando, and Dallas. I'm in Durham with no money. Let me tell you, quick backstory. This is how broke I was. I'm working the night shift, right? And I'm driving a nice car. I won't tell you what the car that I was driving because I wasted my money and they're not paying me, so I'm not telling you the car I was driving. But it was a nice car. Just know it was a nice car. And I'm driving to the security job at night. I get pulled over, right? I have no money. I stopped paying insurance because I couldn't afford it. Yeah. So my insurance had lapsed. There's no insurance on this car. Cop pulls me over. It's a nice young lady, and she's like, "Hey, I'm supposed to tow your car." She said, "What I'm going to do is I'm going to let you," because I was like a block or 2 from my aunt's house. So she's like, "I'm going to let you turn around and take it back and park it. And I'm going to take the license plates off. When you get insurance, you get your license plates back." Oh, my God. What? My shift starts in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I drive back home. She takes my plates off. I go back in the house. I'm like, what am I going to do? I steal a license plate off another car in the parking lot and put it on the back of my car and go to work. And so now I'm driving around with a stolen license plate on my car because the cops took. That's how broke I was. Yeah. And so they say that, hey, you have to be at one of these auditions. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'll be in Orlando. I have no clue how I'm going to get to Orlando. Zero. But I just told them, yeah, I'll be there. And the next set of events was just like, my story will never be void of Jesus Christ in it.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry. I don't, this may not be one of those podcasts, but this is my story, and my story will never be void of Jesus Christ and the way that he worked in my life. I get a call because now I'm like, I can't afford a ticket, like plane ticket, bus ticket, train ticket, none of that. Then I'm thinking, can I drive? I'm like, do I have enough money for gas? And I'm like, imagine me getting pulled over in the backwoods of Georgia or Alabama, and I'm in this nice car with stolen plates. I am going under the jail.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, I'm not going to take that risk. I get a call from my godmother, and she's like, hey, just calling to check on you. Hope everything's okay. And we talk for a little bit. And as she's hanging up, she says to me, do you need to go anywhere? And I said, nah, why do you ask? She goes, well, I bought a plane ticket a year ago to go see her dad. She's from Alabama, to go see my dad in Alabama. She goes, but Dylan, her son, got sick. She goes, so I didn't go. The airlines reached out to me and told me that I still had this flight. If I didn't use it, I was going to lose it. She goes, I'm working. I'm not going anywhere. If you want to go somewhere or need to go somewhere, tell me, and I'll see if I can't get the flight credit switched over in your name.
Yeah, right.
So I'm like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, you need to go anywhere? I need to get to Orlando. She says, I'll call you back in the morning. I gave her the date to time. So now I went from not having a plane ticket to having a flight to Orlando.
Yeah.
Now, the audition, it was 2 days. I'm thinking, where am I going to stay for 2 days in Orlando? First thing comes to mind, you'll sleep in the airport, right? You're going to have to just thug it out in the airport. Right, figure it out, thug out in the airport. And I started thinking, like, man, do I know anybody in Orlando? A light bulb went off. My 5th grade teacher, Miss Ronnie Denoya, who actually dated my great uncle, had moved to Orlando when I was in college. And she would consistently call me and go, hey, for spring break, if you want to come to Orlando, I get discount tickets to the theme park. You can bring your friends. I got a pool, da, da, da. And I'm thinking, one, I couldn't do it because I was playing in the NCAA tournament, so there was no spring break for me. But two, I'm like, I don't want to go to see Miss Denoya in Orlando. Like, I'm a college kid. I'm like, I can't turn up with Miss Denoya. No. But I'm like, I'm going to shoot my shot now. Yeah. And I called him like, hey, Miss Denoya, this is Jesse, da, 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 da. She's like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, I need to come. I'm coming to Orlando. Is the offer still there? You still there? She's like, yeah, I'm still there. I'm like, can I stay with you for 2 days? She's like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Where do you need to go? And I'm like, well, they said I need to go to this address. And she says, really? I'm like, yeah. She said, it's 5 minutes from my house. She goes, I pass it every single day. Man. She said, you can probably walk there if you wanted to, but I could drop you off on my way to work. Yeah. So I went from not having anywhere to stay, not having anywhere to get to Orlando, to having a plane ticket and somewhere to stay that's a walking distance. So I get there and I do they have 2-day auditions. The first day is on camera, and then the second day is like a combine on the field type workout. Yeah. So I get there, I meet the producer, wild thing, his name is Jesse. We also share the same birthday. Crazy. Yeah. So I do my on camera thing, and then when I'm done, he goes, great, man. He's like, man, I've checked your background. He goes, I'm putting a star by your name. Don't worry about coming tomorrow. So I'm like, well, what does that mean? He says, well, when all the people, the directors and producers that are out on these auditions, we come back to LA and then we have a big board meeting and we kind of pick out who we want. I'm putting a star on your name. I like you. So don't even worry about, you don't even have to come tomorrow. Man. So I ended up spending the day with Ms. Denoya. So they're like, all right, cool. So I fly back. And I'm just like, don't call us, we'll call you. So a couple of weeks go by, and I get a call, and they go, hey, you've been selected to be one of the 50 participants that needs to be in LA for a week. We're going to do, like, it's if anyone has ever been on a reality TV show, they take you through all of these medical, like, psych type stuff. It's a wild situation. And I go, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I pump faked on this Orlando thing, and it worked out for me. I can't afford to get to LA. Like, I just know I can't. There's no way I'm going to be able to. Is there any other, alternative? They said, well, don't worry about that, because the 50 people that we're bringing to LA, we're covering your flight, we're covering your hotel stay, and you'll get $75 per day per diem. I'm like, what? Bet. I'm in there. But I have a job. Right? I'm the third shift supervisor at the security company, 11 at night to 7 in the morning. So I'm like, I go to my boss and I'm like, hey, I got this opportunity. I need 7 days off. Like, I need to kind of be excused. And he was like military, like really like legit old school military. He's like, no, you're not getting it. You get your normal 2 days off. I may give you a third, but that's it. And so I'm like wilding, like, man, this is an opportunity that might change my life. I don't know what's going to come of it. And I don't even have all the information about this show. They're being very vague about what the information they're giving out. So what I ended up doing was, I was, as a supervisor, I had Fridays and Saturdays off. Mm-hmm. So I ended up working with the other people on my shift and trading off days. I said, if you got Sunday, Monday off, I'm going to give you my Friday and Saturday this week. You got Tuesday, Wednesday off, I'm going to give you my Friday, Saturday the next. So I worked it out till I had my shift covered. Yeah. But I would forego my Friday, Saturday for like the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. Yeah. I got everyone to sign off on it. I brought it back to my boss, like, well, then Mr. Quarterman, he's dead now. And I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad that Mr. Quarterman's dead. He's a mean old man. He's a mean man. Sorry to the Quarterman family. And so I come back and I go, Mr. Quarterman, like, look, I got everything that we need signed off on. And he says, no, I told you no. You're the third shift supervisor. I'm not giving you 7 days off. And so I'm struggling now. I'm like, this is like, I have to go in a week. And I'm like, so this young lady that I was dating at the time, she comes to me and she says, hey, I know you're going to talk to Mr. Quarterman in the morning again. Before you go to work, stop by my house. So I said, okay. So I stopped by and she gives me a manila envelope. She says, do not open this until right before you go talk to Mr. Quarterman. So I go in the morning, talk to Mr. Quarterman. I'm like pleading my case for the final time. And I'm like, Mr. Quarterman, listen, I got everyone. I'm telling you, everyone is trained up. They're good to go. I just need this opportunity, please. He takes my list of signatures and he rips it up. And he said, I told you no. Get the hell out. Ooh. And so I'm sitting in his office, but I have this envelope in my lap. And I'm like, oh, snap, I forgot to open this envelope. I open the envelope and I pull it out. It's a typed up piece of paper. It's my resignation letter. And she put a sticky note on it. And it just said, trust God. And I'm like, I put it on his desk and I walk out. And I get to the car that I cannot pay for, that has a stolen license plate on it. And I'm like, what did I just do? I just quit a job and I do not have a job. I do not have money. And I have no idea what this show is going to be about. I don't even know if I'm going to make the show. But trust God.
Yeah.
And I went. And I'm there for 7 days in Cali. They send me back. I can't get my job back. He's like, no. So I start working like full-time at T-Mobile. Because I work in part-time now. I start working full-time at T-Mobile to kind of just, I get the call. They said, hey, you've been one of 12 contestants selected to come on this show called Fourth and Long with Michael Irvin. Pack up. You're going to be gone for 2.5 months. Whatever family you got, kiss them goodbye because you won't see them for a while. And I go do this show right here in Dallas, my first time in Dallas. We see most reality TV shows, you see it and you think, oh, mansion, set up nice. Everybody's, no. We lived inside the Cotton Bowl. The 2 locker rooms inside the Cotton Bowl right down here in Fair Park. Yep. We lived inside. There was no cut. Y'all go to the Palomar Hotel or y'all go to somewhere. No. The offense, it was 6 wide receivers, 6 DBs. The wide receivers stayed in one locker room that they kind of makeshift. The DB stayed in the other locker room. And we were locked in the Cotton Bowl for 2 months. No cell phones, no computers, no radio, no TV, no iPods, no iPads, nothing that could connect us with the outside world. You had to write letters, like handwritten letters to your people to communicate. Unless you won they had like some contest that we would do inside the show. and you might have won like 2 or 3 minutes to call your people at home. Now I got to decide, who do I call, right? Do I call my brothers? Do I call my mom? Do I call my lady? Whoever it was at that time, it was like, and so I end up at the end of this thing, I win. And the show cuts. I'm standing in this is before they even opened AT&T.
Yeah.
I'm standing in there, Jerry Jones, Michael Irvin, everybody. And the producer, the same dude who I met in Orlando, he comes up to me and he goes, I don't think you understand what you just did. I'm like, I won. He's like, yeah, but. He goes, remember that application I had you fill out and fax in? I said, yeah. He said, we got over 100,000 of those. He said, remember the 50 of you guys, the auditions that you came out to? I said, yeah. He said, between the 5 cities, we auditioned over 20,000 people between those 5 cities. He said, remember, there was the 50 of y'all came out of that to go to L.A. The 12, he goes, one. There's one person. You won the show. Out of all of the odds, you were the one that won. And that was just the beginning of the odds being stacked against me because I was the 80th man in an 80-man training camp roster who didn't have a playbook, who wasn't in meetings at OTAs and mini camps. I showed up to training camp with very little knowledge of the playbook. Yeah. God rest his soul, Coach Joe Alvazano, who was a longtime special teams coach in the NFL and for the Cowboys, we would sneak into the Cowboys facility when it was in Valley Ranch. And we would be in this little closet. Shout out to my guy, Sammy, who works from the film department. Sammy would sneak us in. We would sit. Sammy was he was an editor. He's big time now, but back then he was like small time. He was in like a coat closet with like a couple of computer screens. And he had to edit film, like as an intern type deal. I mean, his closet was tight. And so what I would do was they recorded every meeting. Every install of the offense. I watched every practice. I watched every meeting, and I wrote things down by hand of the playbook and the things that I think that I needed to know to kind of give me some sort of understanding of what was the playbook. Showed up to San Antonio, went through all that, and it ended up making the practice squad, which was I was out of football for 2 years, to come into this situation from reality TV show to be a part of the team. And people sometimes laugh at practice squad or kind of like downplay it. You'd be a fool. First of all, I'm still an NFL player. Yeah. Right? That's number one. Number two, at that time, it's still it's more now, but at that time, I was making 6 figures to do practice squad. I made 6 figures in 17 weeks. That's how we get paid. And I only work 3 days a week. So you can laugh at practice squad. Practice squad guys now make $204,000. You break that down during 17 weeks. Ain't too many people making that legally. Legally. For 3 days worth of work. You really only practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday's a walkthrough. If the team's playing at home, you stay at the hotel. If they traveling, you're not traveling with the team. Let the coach, you get rewarded to travel with the team. And then you one play away from being elevated. Yeah. So I did that, and I ended up spending 3 years with the Cowboys, man. And it was great. I ended my career in New England, and then I jumped into media after that, and I did the pre and post game show for a local radio station here. I work for DallasCowboys.com. I do different podcasts now. I have my own podcast, Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. Make sure you check that out. I was an athletic director for 8 years at 2 different schools. So yeah, that's how I got to today. So everything about my story has been a blessing. Like nothing about my story will be voided of saying nothing happened because of me. I just got a chance to ride in this seat and be the vessel that God decided to use for this journey. And I love it because when you think about it, the Cowboys did not need any celebrity. They're the most recognizable franchise in all of sports. And God said, I'm going to put you on the Cowboys. I'm going to make this a Cowboy thing. I could have been the Browns. I could have been the Bears. I could have been the Jaguars. I could have been some lonely, sucky team that probably needed the publicity from a reality TV show to help boost their notoriety. No, he said, I'm going to do the Cowboys. And I mean, I've been a Cowboy ever since then. Jerry still cutting me checks. Thank you, Jerry.
Shout out Jerry. Yeah.
Shout out Jerry. Shout out the Jones family. Still cutting me checks.
That's one thing Jerry Jones is going to do. He's going to keep the Cowboys relevant.
Absolutely. And I'm not mad at that.
At all.
the more relevant they are. This is how I know. I've deposited many checks in my life, right? And you know how when you deposit a check, like they're like, oh, well, they'll tell you how much a check is and how much available right now.
Yeah.
I've never deposited a check that came from the Jones family where I had to wait for the amount to come out. When I deposited a check,
It's cleared.
it's cleared. What's the available balance? Whatever you just put in there. It never fails. Every time I deposit a check from the Cowboys, the exact amount is available right now. Whatever that number is, it's available. The only organization that I've been a part of that's like, they're like, oh, yeah, well, this is much is available. The rest will be available in 2 business days. Cowboys, I put that check in there. Everything's available now. They're like, they're good.
They're good.
I love that.
Yeah.
Man, so you just shared an amazing story with us.
I
Man,
know.
a lot to digest there.
I know. I
Hey,
told you.
but it's amazing. Like, and the moral I got from that is just be still.
Right.
Just be still for a second. Listen to God. He's gonna guide you. He's gonna guide you. I mean,
Yeah.
you had no way to have it no way.
Right.
Take you to places
And-
you never thought.
Yeah, and now, I mean, I'm the only player in NFL history. There's no other player. I'm Googleable. There's no other player in NFL history to ever make a roster from a reality TV show. I'm one of one. And that, if you take anything from that, take this. Take this. God has a specific plan for your life. That's biblical. In the Bible, it says, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I had a plan. Specifically for you. My plan was for me. That's it. This and it was done in such a way that when I come up here today to talk to y'all, mind you, I'm getting this. Imagine me telling you that story and going, that was all me. You'd be like, you're a fool. My story and my testimony cannot be told because you won't believe it.
Right.
If you read that story on TikTok, if you read that story in a blog, you would go, who lying? He lying. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. And that's why I know no matter what platform I get on, I'm never not going to give my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ the credit for my success because it ain't me.
Yeah.
It ain't me. When it was me, I lost my job.
Wild.
So take anything from that. God has a plan specifically for you. And if you walk into that gift and give him credit in it, the possibilities are endless. Like moving mountains is that's a real thing. Like I'm the only player in NFL history to ever make the NFL from a reality TV show. Mount Everest, Mount Kilimanjaro, whatever the biggest mountains you want to talk about, he moved it. And he did it in such a way that I can't tell my story without saying that. Play the church music. Dun, 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 dun. That's the Holy Ghost music. Sorry.
Man, hey, no, it's right. I mean, it's really, like I said, what I take from it is, like, if you believe and you have faith, God said just have the faith of a mustard seed.
Yeah.
You know how big a mustard seed is? It's about that big. If you just trust him that much, he's going to help you. I don't know what you believe in and what you don't believe out there. It's just,
In your gift. Because don't
Yeah.
think, I'm on reality too. No. I was talented. Like, don't miss that part. Don't miss that part. Don't think everybody's just going to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
What is your gift? Like, trust in that gift that you've been given. Like, I was given the gift of athleticism. Not everybody's given that gift. And some people can sing. Some people can draw. Hell, you do a great job with audio and visual. I would be confused doing this stuff. So it's in your gift. Don't miss that part. I'm here to tell y'all, God not blessing you going to the NFL. I don't care how much you pray if you got 2 left feet. It ain't happening. If you fat and slow and slew-footed and no athleticism and can't bend and can't move, you can pray all you want. It ain't happening. Pray in the gift that you use the gift. He giving you a gift, use that gift. So don't look at it and be like, oh man, if Jesse can make it to the NFL, so can I. Nah.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane,
Stay
Playboy.
in your lane and walk in your gift. Your gift will make room.
Man. So you basically touched everything about your story.
Yeah, you don't even need
So-
any questions.
Like I said, we don't need questions, but we got this segment on the show. If you watch Ray Ray's podcast or listen to Ray Ray's podcast, we got
Slow down, I just wanna get to know you.
Slow Down. We just want to get to know you. This is where we just ask you some random questions off the rip. We don't know where we're going to go.
Oh, boy.
We're going to ask you pop culture. We ask you something about some sports.
Okay.
We don't know where we're going to go. You know what I'm saying? But before, we always, kick off this slow down segment. We got to let you know that it is sponsored by Lyrically Correct. Lyrically Correct is the music trivia game. We have like the 90s, 2000s hip hop R&B edition. We've got the gospel edition. We've got the old school edition. We got all the different editions, the 80s edition. So if you think you're lyrically correct, be sure to go to lyricallycorrect.com, put in that promo code RAYH23, get your 20% off all the different copies of Lyrically Correct. Or now you go to Target, pick up your copy of Lyrically Correct at Target. So we're going to see if Jesse is lyrically correct later, but that's going to be later on down the road.
Okay.
So make sure y'all tune into that,
Okay.
all right? So we always like to kick off this segment again.
I'm nervous about this.
It's all right. We want you to, again, shout out all your social media platforms, all your shows you want people to tune into.
Yes.
Shout out all that stuff for the people.
Man, the name Mr. Fourth and Long, MR, the number 4, THANDLONG, Mr. Fourth and Long. That's literally Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. All of my shows, please go and watch my show, Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. You can find that on YouTube. It's Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. Like that's my baby. That is me, and I'm so thankful that I finally started that. But I'm also on Hanging with the Boys at DallasCowboys.com. You can also find that on YouTube. I'm also on the Believe Network. I have another show called Believe in Cowboys with Jesse Holley. My co-host Jeff Kavanaugh is on that, and then on Game Day. A to Z Sports Dallas. I do the pre-halftime and post-game show for your Dallas Cowboys. You can check that out via YouTube or in person. Right now, we're looking for a new location. A lot of y'all know that we did Texas Live last year. We're looking for a new location right now. That's not in my control. But when the powers that be get that right, I can come check me out in person. Get your pregame on before the game. When the game's away, come kick it with me. Learn a little football. But that's where you can find me at, man. And I'm more active on Twitter at Mr. Fourth and Long than anything. That's my social that I'm a little bit addicted to, that I hate, but I love. But yes, please go watch them all. But go watch Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. Give me 3 listens for 15 minutes. I promise you, if you listen to 3 shows, at least 15 minutes, you will be hooked. Make it a part of it. Like, subscribe, do all that. Tell a friend, tell your mama, your daddy, your grandma, all them. And when you see me in the street, how do the young people say? When you see me in the street and say what's up, ski. Yeah, do all that. Yeah, you had to.
Yo, I gotta give a special shout out to my special co-host in the building, riding shotgun with your boy. Shout out Raya Turner in the building. Shout out all your socials too, Raya. These people can find you.
Oh, Instagram at Raya Girl. Twitter at Raya Girl 77. Girl with the U, not I, with the U. And yeah, those are the socials.
Okay.
I'm sorry I didn't give you no chance to ask questions, but when y'all give me the platform to tell a story, I'm gonna tell a story.
You did great.
You did. You told an amazing story. It was an amazing story. There's someone that needs to hear that story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? God's timing is never wrong, and there's someone that probably need to hear that. So
I need to hear it every single time I tell it. I used to get upset telling it. Like, I'm not telling this story. But then it's a constant reminder for me. And so anytime I get it, I'll tell it.
Yeah, facts. So we got the slow down segment. I'm a gentleman. So I'm going to let Miss Raya kick it off, the slow down segment. What you got? What questions you got over here? Yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah.
Well, I personally want to know, since we are in the heart of, Dallas, what was your most memorable moment with the Dallas Cowboys?
Oh,
out of your years.
September 18th, 2011, fourth quarter, overtime. Tony Romo punctured lung, broken ribs. I'm going to quickly tell this story because the backstory is amazing. I'm telling you, you got to just hold on. September 18th, 2011, the Cowboys are playing the San Francisco 49ers. The week before, our all-star receiver, Des Bryant, hurts his leg, his quad against the New York Jets. Not playing in this game. We get into this game, and I'm supposed to be in the mix of starters, right? And right before the game, coach comes and he goes, "You're not. We're going with someone else." And I was crushed. When I say crushed, I was crying, like real man tears in the pregame. My good friend John Kittner came to me and he said, "Do you got a uniform today?" I said, "Yeah, but Kit, he said, "Do you have an opportunity to impact this game?" I was like, whatever, bro. Like, I was upset. The game is going on. I'm getting no reps in this game, like offensively, only special teams. In the fourth quarter, the guy they put in front of me to play is screwing up the entire game. Won't mention any name. Dwayne Harris. No, I'm playing.
I was about to say, I think it's Dwayne.
Dwayne Harris. That's my guy, though. And so coach is like, Dwayne, get the F out. And he puts me in the game. And I catch 2 slant passes in the fourth quarter. Ended up taking us to overtime. Now, Dez didn't play. During that game, Tony Romo leaves the game, goes in the locker room. Nobody knows what's wrong. He comes back in and he's hurt. You can tell that he's hurt. You don't know what it is. We don't know what it is at the time, but he's hurt. In this time frame, our other star receiver, Miles Austin, comes to the huddle and he goes, Jess, I'm done. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, bro, I pulled my hamstring. It's shot. I cannot run. So I'm like, I'm telling Miles, I'm like, bro, we don't have Dez. We don't have you. Bro, we don't have a shot. He's like, this it. We end up going to overtime. Our defense is up first. They stop them. In my head, I'm hearing John Kitna say, you will have an opportunity to impact this game. And I'm thinking the coach is going to call a block punt, because they got a punt. Yeah. Like, I'm going to block this punt. I'm going to help win this game. Coach called punt safe. No blocking the punt for me. We get the ball back. First play, I'm standing right next to Tony Romo. Coach Garrett calls a play in, and Tony kind of shakes his head. And he looks up, takes a deep breath, and he goes, all right, let's go win this effing game. And he calls a play. It's called Z-Poker is the play it's called. Z-Poker is a specific play that only was designed, ran, and called for Miles Austin. He's the only one that ran it. It was his play. And I break the huddle and I go, Z-Poker, this is coming to me. Oh, snap. The play happens. I catch the ball 77 yards. I get tackled at the 1 yard line. And people are always saying, oh, you got ran down. You were celebrating. I wasn't. I was never supposed to score. This is a part of my God story. The same place that I was in Durham, North Carolina, at Tobacco Roadhouse as a security guard, on my hands and knees in the middle of that place with my hands to the heavens, asking God, what do you want from me? When you go watch that play, you can Google it. The same exact position I was in that play. It was the biggest moment of my career, and it was an exclamation point of God saying, I got you. I got you. One of the biggest games. That team, that Niners team was a really good team. They ended up going to the Super Bowl that year. But that was the game defining play. And went through enough adversity throughout the game and still showing up. And there's a play, when you watch the play, they'll go back in their replay and they'll show Tony Romo talking to me. And you'll see my head doing this, and you can't see my mouth. My back is, you see his face, and he's saying words to me. And people, till this day, still ask me, what did he say to you? And I go, I don't know. All I kept telling Tony was, I'm ready. I'm ready, Tony. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. That's all I kept saying to him. We get on the plane to fly home. Later to find out he punctured his lung, and he broke his ribs. Oh, my God. And he still came back in the game and won the game for us. But I walked by his seat on the plane, and I tap him on the shoulder, and he kind of pulls his headphones off, and he says, what's up? I said, why did you change the play? Because he went on a completely different play than what the coach called in. I heard what the coach called in. I was standing right. For those of you who don't know, quarterbacks have microphones in their helmet, so when the play calls, you can hear it. He's the only one that has it. And I'm like, I heard the play. You changed the play. And he kind of gave me this Tony Romo smile with a dimple, and he said, you told me you were ready. And he put his headphones back on and slumped back down in the seat, and I went to my seat. That's my most memorable play as a Cowboy.
Wow. I have chills. I still have chills.
Yeah. Okay, so I got a question for you. You just talked about Tony Romo's and quarterbacks, all right? 2 couple quarterback questions for you, all right? So, the game's changed and evolved in the NFL, all right? So, I want you to name a quarterback from any era that you could bring back to play in the current NFL today, of being a passing game. Who do you think would have the most success? And a follow-up question to that, too. What college quarterback that never got their first shot in the NFL would you bring to play in today's modern NFL?
Your first question is Dan Marino. Hands down. Dan Marino would, think Patrick Mahomes type velocity and arm with Dan Marino. If you put him in today's game, he would shatter. He would shatter stuff. And so it would be Dan Marino that I would bring back to play in this era. I just think he never won a Super Bowl, but he has a bunch of passing records. And this is a time when Dan Marino played where you could almost you assaulted receivers and they didn't call a penalty.
Yeah.
Like you just didn't see like Dan Marino, like 80s, 90s, even some early 2000s. Like you just didn't come across the middle of the field just all willy nilly. There were safeties taking your head off. Yeah. Like before this whole concussion thing and concussion lawsuit and movies and all that kind of stuff. Like people forget that there was a segment on ESPN before the games that was called Jacked Up.
Yeah.
It was literally a replay of the week's worth of games where folks was getting their brain splattered on the football field. Dan Marino played in that era and with those receivers. If you give Dan Marino receivers like we have now, think about Calvin Johnson, 6'5", 230 pounds, runs a 4.3, or an Odell Beckham type, or somebody who could, or Amari Cooper type. I mean, Justin Jefferson. Those type with Dan Marino's arm and accuracy, boy. And then the one college quarterback who did not get his just due, I'm biased. He is a friend of mine, and he was ahead of his time. Iowa State Cyclone quarterback Seneca Wallace. Go look at Seneca Wallace. Go look at he played in Seneca
Seahawks, right?
He played 10 years in the league. Seahawks. He was Mike Holmgren, Packers, Seahawks, Browns, wherever Mike Holmgren went. Seneca was always like the backup quarterback there. Had some starts in the league, but Seneca came out in a time where Seneca's probably 5'11".
Yeah.
Right. Was an athlete, could run around. Back in that time, there was a prejudice, one, against black quarterbacks, two, against small quarterbacks. You had to be 6'3", 6'4", stand in a pocket, statuesque, but deliver the ball down the field. Seneca was 5'11", mobile, could run around. Go Google Seneca Wallace and all of your Kyler Murrays, your Russell Wilsons, your Bryce Youngs of the world, your Lamar Jacksons, you name them. Seneca Wallace was one quarterback that I was like, dude, you were so far ahead of your time. If your career was maybe 8 years later, you would have been a first-round pick. At the time, he was a Heisman candidate.
Yeah.
You would have been a first-round pick, and he made great money, don't get me wrong, but he would have made stupid money with his skills and his ability in today's football.
I think the two I picked, I think if you take Vic from the Eagles in today's, and also Randall Cunningham. I think Randall Cunningham. Yeah. I think the game is fit for.
I agree.
For Randall Cunningham. My college quarterback, I think that would have made an impact in today's game, that they didn't give him a shot, Charlie Ward.
Ooh.
I think Charlie Ward, if he would have got a fair shot, I think he would have dazzled people, but he decided to go to NBA. Like, let me get this NBA check, though. But
he made a smart move. He got that guarantee money.
He got that guarantee money, but I think he would have been.
Yeah, Charlie Ward definitely. But it fits in the same mold of Seneca Wallace, right? Athlete, can play the sport, but it was a prejudice on black quarterbacks. They didn't think black quarterbacks was smart to play the position.
And size.
And then your size.
Yeah. That's like, what's his name? Troy Smith from Ohio State.
Yeah.
They were balled out at Ohio State, but.
I will say this. Ohio State doesn't really have a good record of quarterbacks
that is
coming
true.
to the league.
You're
black, white, or indifferent.
Right.
Ohio State quarterbacks come into the league and all of a sudden, they normal. They below normal.
What you got for me, Rhea?
I actually want to know, since you were with the Patriots as well, there's so much talk when it comes to the GOAT, Tom Brady. Do you have any funny moments that when you were briefly with him? Anything that you could talk about to give an insight of what it was like to be around him?
Yeah. I guess I'll give two. I'll give you why I like when you hear about he's the GOAT. You go like sometimes people, not sometimes, 90% of the people don't understand why a person is the GOAT. Mm-hmm. Like we watched The Last Dance, right? That was like the shut down not podcast, but documentary that we all. The Last Dance saved my life because I was like I needed something, and when we were shut down, but you got a chance to go behind the scenes and see why Michael Jordan was the GOAT, and a lot of times people don't get a chance to see that. When I got to New England, I had been with Carson Palmer in Cincinnati. I had been with Tony Romo in Dallas, two really good quarterbacks. But I get to Cincinnati, and my locker was a locker away. So it was my locker, Deion Branch, Tom Brady, Deion Branch, me. Every day, every single day, OTAs, mini camps, training camp, every single day, Tom Brady would come back to his locker and there were a couple things in his locker. Set your watch to it. A towel, a tape cutter, a chocolate milk, an iPad. Every day. Every single day.
The chocolate milk. Okay.
Tape cutters, towel, chocolate milk, iPad. He would come in, wipe his sweat, cut the tape off his cleats, take his shoes off, crack open the chocolate milk for replenishing, and he would watch an iPad. Now, most people don't know, when you do a practice in training camp or the regular season, when practice is over, you have an allotted time, you come in, you shower, you eat. You literally go watch the film that you just got finished practicing for the day. And then you do install kind of for tomorrow. So I was always curious of what is he watching? Like, we're going to watch this film. What is he watching? Right. This is before Netflix and people was binge watching stuff. Right now, Joe's in the locker with their iPad. Like you binge watching something. Yeah. So curiosity eventually got to the cat, and I was like, I'm gonna go over there and see what he's watching. And I go over there and I see what he's watching. I said, man, what are you doing? And he shows me. He says, look, Jess, and it's a camera in practice, like these cameras here, that's dedicated just to Tom Brady, not to the rest of the practice or the play or whatever. It's dedicated to Tom Brady, and it's shot from the back angle, right? So, and he says, he pressed play, and the play that we ran comes across the top of the screen. The defensive coverage comes along with it. And he says, what I want to see is if we're running the football, did I carry out my fake? Did I hand the ball off and keep carrying out my fake? If I'm throwing left, did I look the safety off right? Is my steps correct? Did I step in the bucket? Did I overstride? I want to know every single thing, because that's going to determine me having success in the game or not. Mm-hmm. And I may be able to get away with it in the first quarter, but what will end up happening is if you practice bad habits, they'll become a part of your game, bad habits, and it'll cost us. That's the difference between winning championships and losing championships. Mm-hmm. And it blew my mind. I said, oh, this is why he is who he is. This is why he is as good as he is, because the details, everybody's talented in the National Football League. You don't get there without having an exceptional amount of talent. Mm-hmm. It's those who pour into the details of their position. And I'm not saying that I don't know what all quarterbacks do, but the details that he worked with and practiced with, he set the standard for what practice was going to be. Not even the coaches. I seen him, they ran a play and they missed it. It was the same play that they missed in the Super Bowl, him and Wes Welker. He ran it 4 times in a row. And the offensive coordinator was like, next play. He goes, no, we're running it again. Perfect. This play cost us. It will not cost us again. You know what we ran? The damn play again. Yeah. Till they got it right. That's what separates the good from the greats, from the elites, and the GOATs.
Wow.
Yeah. Man, I think I just read a story the other day that Mike Daniels is doing a camera like that for Tua on his helmet so he could see what you're seeing. So I think Mike Daniels get a hold of tape like that. It could be something for Tua, right?
Yep.
So here's a question I asked one of my friends, Mackenzie Bernardo. He played for the Cowboys. Big Mac. Shout out Big Mac. Give me some of the Cowboy Wagyu. You've been slacking something. So I asked him this question. I asked him to build his ideal quarterback based off of the traits of quarterbacks he's played with. I want you to do the same thing for me. Then afterwards, since you're a receiver, build your ideal receiver off of traits of the receivers you played with.
Okay. Well, I mean, in the pros, I played with 3 quarterbacks. I played with Carson Palmer, I played with Tom Brady, and I played with Tony Romo. So building a quarterback from them, I want them to have Tony Romo's athleticism. I want them to have the arm of Carson Palmer, and I want them to have the competitive spirit and brain of Tom Brady. Wow. That would be my quarterback. That would be an all-time quarterback.
That's deadly quarterback.
Yeah, athleticism like Tony Romo. I want you to have the arm strength and power of Carson Palmer, and I want you to have the brain power and the competitiveness of Tom Brady. And receivers that I play with guys like Chad Ochocinco, TJ Houshmandzadeh, Chris Henry, God rest his soul. I played with Deion Branch. I played with Gronk, Aaron Hernandez. I know. God rest his soul too.
Yeah.
Wes Welker, Julian Edelman. Then I played with Dez, Patrick Creighton, Roy Williams. So to build my perfect receiver, I want them to have the body of Dez Bryant, who was a physical beast. I want them to have the route running of Wes Welker. No, I want them to have the route running of Chad Johnson. Chad was stupid. Yeah. Oh, my God. I want them to have the hands of Brandon Lloyd, who I played with in New England. I want them to have the intelligence of Patrick Creighton. And I want them to have the speed of Miles Austin. There we go. Yeah.
That sounds like a top 5 fantasy receiver for me.
You give me that quarterback and that receiver, and we breaking records. We breaking records.
Okay. So, we talked about 4th and long. Mm-hmm. Do you still talk to any of your castmates from the show? What was his, I believe, Andrew Hawkins?
That's it.
He was a runner?
That's it.
Yeah.
Really?
The only one I talk to. Who's, oddly enough, doing way better than I am. I'm not. Listen, I'm making a joke. No one's life is better than my life because it's my life. Mm-hmm. But Andrew made a career. Andrew he went to the CFL for a couple years and then came back to the National Football League. Was with the Bengals and the Browns. Got a nice little contract. He's doing TV and media and stuff like that. And so Hawk is doing phenomenal, but he's the only one that I care to talk to. I take that back. I talk to Eddie Moulton every now and again, but he was really the only one that I cared to talk to after the show was over. I didn't like many people on that show. I didn't. I mean, you live with somebody for 2.5 months.
I get it.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was always the fact of the matter is if you ever hit anybody outside of the football field, you were automatically disqualified. And so if I saw a couple of those, no violence. Yeah. But might smack one in the back of the head. But just Hawk is the only one I still talk to from that group.
All right. So we both know you're Mr. 4th and long, all right? So if me and Ray, we got the Ray and Ray network, all on streaming platforms and everything, we got the network, all right? And we're executive producers and we got our own TV shows and stuff like that. Say, for instance, we wanted to revive 4th and long, all right? And I want you to answer these couple scenarios, all right?
Okay.
So if we wanted to revive 4th and long, here's the first scenario. Would you host it solo, or would you bring Michael Irvin back to be a co-host, or would you have a new co-host? That's the first scenario, okay?
Let me answer that first before you go.
Okay.
I'm bringing Mike back.
Okay.
Mike is must-see TV. Mike has a huge audience. People love Mike. Side note, we tried to do 4th and long again. The NFL got real greedy about it. They didn't think it was going to have that much success to start with. That's why. Because you can't do it. To have the brand of the NFL, they didn't think it was going to do well. Then it ended up doing well. We had the #1 rated show on Spike TV. It did really well. I ended up becoming a success. When we tried to do it again, the NFL said,
Wow.
We want it on our network, and we want to own 90% of it. Because Michael Irvin still owns the rights to that show. It's his show. NFL said, we want it. We want to do it on our network, and we want to keep you out of it. And I try to convince Mike, just do it, man. I'm like, you have all the money. I could use some more money. Let's just do it again. But Mike's
me.
Right. Mike's like, I'm not giving this show to the NFL. I won't do it at all before I give it to the NFL. No. So, but I would bring Mike back. For sure.
Second scenario, okay? So over the years, there's been former All-Pros, saying they can still contribute into the game today. Examples like your T.O.s, your Ocho Cinco's, they still think they can play in the game today, all right? If we did a 4th and long All-Pro edition, what 5 former All-Pros would you want to see compete for a roster spot in today's NFL?
Randy Moss, T.O., Ocho Cinco, A.B., and Chris Carter.
Okay.
I think AB got that hit from Vontez Buffett.
Yeah. But imagine that on TV. That'll be great. That'll be great. Him, T.O., Ocho, that'll be great cinema.
Might have put that on HBO or something. They can't be on.
Oh, you know what?
That'll be
Let me take Chris Carter out. Let me add in Brandon Marshall. That'll be my 5. The ratings on that alone would be phenomenal. Those 5, the ratings would be crazy.
Yeah, we got to put that on HBO. We're going to put
Showtime.
Warning.
Yeah, that'll be crazy.
Okay. And the third scenario. What if there was a version where we have either rookie receivers or receivers that really haven't broken through what's called the glass ceiling, that you feel have something special, or an upcoming, receiver that's going to be coming in the NFL draft? Who would you choose?
I'm going to keep it right here locally. Jalen Tolbert from the Cowboys. I think he's getting ready to have a breakout year. I do. He sucked last year. I think he's figured it out. The athleticism, the ability has always been there. But like a player like that, I think he's getting ready to take the next step and really be something special. I'm not saying he's going to be the next CeeDee Lamb or whatever, but I think he takes the next step. So, I'm going to keep it local. I'm going to say Jalen Tolbert. Go Cowboys.
Yeah. You think it was all mental for him last year?
100%. Yeah. You don't get to this league and not have a physical ability. Yeah. It just things start. I knew it was all mental when he lined up. I think it was against Green Bay, and he just looked inside, and he's offsides, and he never moves. I know that feeling of I know where I'm supposed to be standing, but I got so much stuff running through my head, and you think I'm looking at the ball, but I'm trying to figure out what was the snap count on, what was the route, do I have an adjustment, do I have a hot, do I have a sight, what is that coverage again? And the ball goes hut, and you go, oh snap, and I'm offsides. And it was 100% all mental for him.
Yeah. All right, man. You guys mentioned Michael Irvin, one of the GOATs. All right. So there's been a video been going viral again on the internet of him from Pros versus Joes, just cooking this dude, just really cooking this dude. All right. So same kind of question, And also there's been another clip of Ricky Williams like just trucking some guy, like some dude was talking mess to Ricky Williams, like he's like, Ricky, you better not come towards me, Ricky. Ricky
smart.
Just embarrass this dude. All right. So if we brought that show back to Pros versus Joes, all right, what athletes would you pick to be on it? Me personally, I want to see Aaron Donald on there.
You don't want to see that.
I kind of do. I want to see the violence, and I want to see Mike Tyson on there. Those are two athletes I would love. I would pay to see some Joes, average Joes, trying to go against. What athletes would you want to have on Pros versus Joes?
Okay, so Aaron Donald, who's he's my man crush Monday. He's my favorite. He's my favorite NFL player. Like he really is. Aaron Donald picked up another grown man.
Yeah.
In a game, Devontae Freeman.
Yeah.
Like to pick up a 215-pound dude like this, and
just drive.
his feet was dangling, and walked him back 3 or 4 yards. You don't want to see that. Like that's him versus a Joe. Like I don't care what the waiver said that you signed. You're gonna try to sue because he's going to hurt you. And Mike Tyson, I had a chance to interview Mike Tyson probably 8 years ago. I was so afraid. And he did nothing threatening. His sheer presence alone. And you think to yourself, and he looked me up and down. He looked me up and down. He said, "What you about? You about 220 something?" I was like, "Yeah, about that." He's like, "Oh, you a heavyweight?" I said, "I guess." He was like, "Oh, okay." The sheer thought, if he decided to snap in this room, who's stopping him? And I'm the biggest in the room. He's going to get me first. I'm like, I have to make sure I do my job as asking the questions, but please don't. And then I did the dumb thing was we took a picture, and like we take a picture and I'm standing next to him and I do like the kind of whole fist thing.
Yeah.
And I'm standing next to him and he does this. Like he looks at me and kind of like, and I go, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put my fist up like that." I was like, like, what do I do? Like, what do I do with my hands now? Like, I just put them to the side. I was just like, I got to find the picture. I'm going to put it on my social. Like, I'm just standing there like a statue because I'm so afraid. Those two I would not. I would love Mike Jordan. I would love to see that. Mike is still amazing. I'm just trying to see.
I wonder how much we'd have to pay Mike. I'm thinking about that number right now.
That was crazy. Football wise, Ray Lewis. I like to see Ray Lewis. I like to see Ray still try to strap it up one more good time. For another sport, I think like boxing. That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair. If I do another football player, if I'm looking for violence, man, that's a good one. Let's go like Vontez Burfict, the dude who knocked AB out. Like, if you want to see violence, I'm going with those guys to see violence.
Yeah.
Like, that's just sheer violence. But, like, some of those guys like that.
Okay.
But I would stay away from Aaron Donald. Like,
I feel like it'd be great entertainment.
someone would really get hurt. Aaron Donald. Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think people do not understand. Like, you don't understand the sheer strength that this dude, 285 pounds, has a six-pack, and he makes 300-pound dudes look like kids.
Yeah.
Imagine what he'll do to a Joe who's 185 pounds. You're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Well, I want to know, I'm going to bring us back into what's going on with the Cowboys right now.
Okay.
And I'm sure you've talked about it, and it's an ongoing conversation at the moment coming up for this week's game. What are your thoughts on the Trey Lance trade? I know everyone's talking about it. You know, it's in current times. What are you thinking?
I think it's the most overblown thing we've ever talked about in our lives. I swear to God. Trey Lance is the third string quarterback. Do you know what has to happen for him to get into a football game? Now, granted, Dak Prescott got in the football game because Tony Romo broke his back and then Kellen Moore broke his ankle. So I'm not saying it's not possible. Mm-hmm. But we because it's the Cowboys, and I get that Trey Lance was the third overall pick for the Niners when he came out in the draft. But, dude, you couldn't beat Brock Purdy out.
Mr. Irrelevant.
You couldn't beat Mr. Irrelevant, and then you couldn't beat another third overall pick in Sam Darnold. So if you couldn't beat them, what in the hell makes you think you're gonna come to Dallas and beat Dak out?
Yeah.
Like, if you had to take right now, Dak or Brock Purdy, 31 other teams are taking number 4.
Yeah.
If you had to take Dak or Sam Darnold, 31 other teams are taking Dak Prescott. He couldn't beat out those dudes. What makes you think he gonna come here? He better hope he can beat out Cooper Rush. I get the athleticism. I get it. I understand it. It was the most overblown thing we've ever talked about in sports.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for it being the Cowboys, it would have been swept under the rug, and it would have been like, oh, and they're not to make a trade to the Bears for Trey Lance. And next on, but because it was the Cowboys, it's this controversy now of it's interesting, it's funny.
I think it would have been a controversy if they said the Bears with the whole with Joseph.
But not even. But it would have been like, okay. But it would have been like it wouldn't have been like they were like, oh, is Trey Lance going to start over Dak? He just got here a week ago.
Yeah,
he has no clue what this playbook is. And again, he couldn't beat out those other two dudes who don't have much skill, exposure, or time in the National Football League than Dak. It was insane. I was just like, it will be interesting though if let me not say that. Let me knock on wood when I say this.
Man, he just said the plot to Any Given Sunday for the first two quarterbacks. Willie Beeman coming in.
That'll be crazy if this year like Dak gets hurt and then Cooper Rush get hurt, and like now you find your new quarterback in Trey Lance the same way you found Dak Prescott with 2 quarterbacks got hurt before him. That'll be that you talk about that, but Jerry would love that.
Oh yeah,
he would eat that.
That's
up.
the most Jerry. That would be the most.
That would be the most Jerry Jones thing ever. Okay. Yeah.
Now, do you have any expectations for Dak, going into this year? Fans are pretty big on hoping that he can really pull it together.
Yeah, he can't play the way he played last year. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he will. No. I think last year was an anomaly. I mean, history has shown that he's not a guy who turns the ball over.
Do you think any of it was mental with him?
Yeah. Because once you find yourself in this hole, and he even said it, he's like, I kept trying to make plays. I kept trying to, and a part of it is when you look out there, you say my receivers are a broken up Michael Gallup. CD was fine, but I had Noah Brown. I had Dennis Houston, who's not even on the team
roster anymore.
Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's like he's like, man, I gotta make the play.
Right.
And you sometimes find yourself chasing the next play, and you throw an interception, and it all begins to spiral. He kept saying, I'm not going to do better. I'm going to do better and do better. And then you get these games, and like, I got to be the guy. I have to be the man. I want to be considered and regarded as one of the best in the league. And I think he just kind of got into his own brain.
Yeah.
But I don't. That's not who he is. Now, is he Aaron Rodgers? Is he Patrick Mahomes? Is he that? Is he Joe Burrow? No. But that's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be those guys. But anything less for this Cowboys roster, this is the best roster this Cowboys team has had, complete roster, offensive leaders in the league, since I've been around. Probably longer than that. And if they don't get this thing to a Super Bowl, it's a failure.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no second round of NFC Championship. No. You got to get to the big game. This roster is stacked.
Yeah.
It is stacked.
Plus the state of the NFC right now. There's really Eagles.
I think the NFC East got a little better.
A little bit better.
But Aaron Rodgers, the boogeyman that you always feared, is no longer in the building.
Yes.
Right? He's not there.
Yeah.
You got to just get over the Niners now.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Okay. So real quick, a couple more questions. We're gonna wrap this thing on up. Me, I'm gonna tell you this person I can't stand, and Shady McCoy annoys the absolute hell out of me. What are your thoughts on guys like Shady McCoy and just this national Dak hate? I don't know where it came from, but now everyone just has his hate for Dak. Is it really something with Dak, or is it that he plays for the Cowboys?
Shady McCoy is needed. He's a necessary evil. I tell all of my young content creators who are doing Cowboy stuff, and they're like, get him off TV, get him off. I said, no. Leave him. Leave him. Because what's going to end up happening is people are going to get tired of listening to him, and then they're going to come search for real, truthful content. And then they're going to discover you. But if everything that's put on TV is truthful and it's honest and it's admirable and it's honorable about covering the Cowboys or your quarterback and so on, guess who we don't have a need for anymore? You.
Yeah.
You. So I'm fine. Like, I'm fine with Shady. I don't listen to Shady McCoy. But I'm fine with him being there. I'm okay with him being there because people who are Cowboy fans are looking for genuine content will get tired of that. And then will come search for me.
Yeah.
And then I'll be able to give you honest, rational, informational stuff that you can use. So I get Shady McCoy. I understand. I understand what he has to be. I've been behind the walls of what it means to put on a production. And let's be honest, if we can. If FS1 called you, Ray, Raya, and said, hey, we're going to pay you $2 million a year, and you have to be the villain, I doubt that you're not going to be the villain.
Facts.
If they call me and say, Jesse, you have to get on TV and be the villain, we're going to pay you $3 million a year. Guess who now becomes the villain? Me. And you don't have to like it, but when I drive off the lot and I enter my nice home and they call me Mr. Holley when I enter the bank, that's all that matters. People have to be able to differentiate what is a show and what is real life.
Yeah.
Right.
Shady is a show. He plays a part. He's no different than Denzel in Training Day. No different. The reaction is what they want. The reaction or the reactor is what they pay.
Views.
As long as you keep viewing and keep commenting and keep whatever,
Rating.
the ratings win.
Right.
He ain't going nowhere. That's just what it is. And if any of us was put in that position to play villain to the most recognizable franchise in all of sports, and they're going to cut me a check to do 60 minutes a day, for 6 months out of the year, and I'm going to make millions of dollars, and then I'm going to have endorsements, and then I'm going to
The list goes on and on.
Yeah.
Dak's the worst quarterback there is in the country.
I get
turn
you.
it to
I
that.
get you. I got you.
So,
I got you.
so I tell people, like, you got to understand, like, yeah, most people don't like the Joker in Batman.
Yeah.
But it's necessary. Because guess what? If no one is messing up Gotham City, if Bane isn't taking over Gotham City, guess what? He stays Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need Bane. You need the Joker in order to have Bruce Wayne turn into Batman.
Facts. Okay. But 2 more questions. We'll wrap up. All right. Did you watch the Bishop Sycamore documentary?
I have not yet. I just haven't had the time. I'm going to watch it. I've seen some of the highlights, and I want to watch it so bad. I just haven't had, like, the moments sometimes I'm like, okay, I got a moment. I'm like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I got a 5:30 a.m. start tomorrow. I got to work out. But I'm going to watch it. I want to see it. I have not seen it yet. That's a crazy story.
All right, we'll talk about it.
Okay,
dude.
yeah, please.
We're
No, I
going
haven't
to talk
seen
about
it.
it, but you want to punch this dude. If you can
I
punch
want to
through your
see
TV.
it. I want to see it.
Yeah, you got to do it. All right. So I always like to ask this question in closing.
We're not closing yet. I didn't do my other segment. I didn't do my my lyrics.
Oh, that's gonna be a different. That's gonna be something different. That's something separate. That's something separate.
I'm an R&B thug. I want to do this.
Okay, we go see.
I like it.
She gonna ask you a bunch of questions.
Okay.
She gonna shuffle it over. All right. So I always like to ask this question when we wrap it up. First, what do you want people to take away from the podcast you did today with us? And secondly, if you give any advice to anyone, no matter what the subject is, what would it be?
I want you to take today that I want you to always tell your testimony. I want you to always tell your story. Never get tired of telling your story, ever. Because there's someone somewhere that is waiting to hear that story, that is needing to hear that story. Nothing that we go through in life, I don't care what it is, nothing that we go through in life is for us. Everything that we go through in life is for someone else. You just happen to be the vessel that is used to go through it. God saw fit for you to do that. And there's somebody somewhere that needed to hear this story today. You raised your hand earlier. Like, I needed to hear that. Right? And I told you guys earlier, I used to hate telling my story. I'm like, not again. Tell your story. Tell your story. Tell your story. Tell your story. Somebody needs to hear it. I spoke in front of a youth group the other night with 250 kids. And I told them, me standing here tonight won't be for everybody. But if it's one of y'all in this room that is impacted by the words that are coming out of my mouth that is sent from me from God, I've done my job. So that being the first thing about today, tell your story. Let people hear your testimony because somebody needs to hear it. What was the second question?
I think about it for a second again. What advice, no matter the subject, you could give to someone, what would it be?
Do it. Do it. Whatever that thing is. Do it. It's never going to be the right time. It's never going to be the right place. You're never going to have enough money. You're never going to have everything that you need.
Do it.
Do it. Like, literally, do it. Like, and that's, I don't care what scenario you put that in. Relationship, do it. Business, do it. Moving, do it. New job, do it. Whatever it is. I waited probably I don't say I'm late, but I should have did my own show, Unfiltered with Jesse Holley, probably 4 or 5 years ago. But I let fear, I let doubt, I let anxiety, I let depression, I let doing and pouring into everyone else's dream. Mm-hmm. I poured into so many other people's dreams at work. Now, granted, it came with the financial benefit to me, but I spent so much time growing someone else's dream and put mine to the back burner. And then when they fired me, they just moved on. But I put in so much to build and I built their dream. Mm-hmm. And they left me on the curb as the thing that I built, they take now credit for it. Do it. Whatever that thing is, if it keeps you up at night, if it's on your heart, if you feel like this is what you're called to do, if it means walk away from your job and crochet, do it. Do it. Walk in that gift and do it. The scenario will never. I kept saying, oh nah, when I get this, then something else comes up. But do it. I don't care what it is. Morally speaking, make sure it's right. But you know what I'm saying? Like do it. Like do it. There's never the timing is never right.
Yeah.
It's never going to be right. Do it.
Facts. Ray, thank you so much again for rocking with me. Glad to have you back. You know, we're going to have to do this again soon.
Another one.
You said what?
Another one.
Another one. And another one.
And another one.
DJ Khaled. All
Right.
right.
The bar is set, so whoever comes after me, good luck.
Yeah, right. The seat is hot. It's hot.
luck.
Very
It's
much.
hot.
I'm setting the bar. Good luck.
Good luck. All right,
Good
man.
luck.
Appreciate you, man. Again, shout out Lyrically Correct. Shout out all our sponsors of Ray Ray's podcast. You know, I started the show with positive words, and I got to end it with positive words, all right? So I want you to get your swag on, rub your hands together like you Birdman,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? You know, if you got a mirror, you can look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, I will boss up mentally. I will boss up spiritually. I will boss up physically, and I will boss up financially. Invest in yourself. It's your boy Ray with Ray Ray's podcast with Jesse Holley in the building. And, you know, we out. Let's go.
Get money all day, get money all night. Sip my drink home, let's get. Hey, get money all day, get money all night. Sip my